သမီးအတွက်သတိရတွေကအနုပညာပကြီးတန်းမှဖန်တီးတယ်သမီးဆွဲတဲ့မြင်ကြောင်းတွေအမတ်တရတွေပေါ်နေတယ်
이지연에게 있어 추모하는 방식은 그분 또는 그것 또는 그때의 기억을 보존하고 간직하기 위해 계속적으로 기억하고 지속적으로 주변 사람들과 논의하는 것이라고 생각합니다.
Pour moi, les souvenirs prennent la forme de boîtes pleines de photos et de souvenirs sans ordre précis, dans lesquelles je fouillais avec mon grand-père pendant qu'il me racontait des histoires si rapportantes. For Christopher Street, memorialization looks like buildings, statues, street names, plaques, graffiti, posters, stickers, park chatter, oral histories, casual reminiscing between friends, parades, events, chit-chat, legends. Historically, Christopher Street and the piers have been spaces of expression for the queer community, especially for homeless LGBTQ and trans women of color. Ballroom, cruising, voguing, drag. These communities and activities still exist, but are more difficult to find. What does memorialization look like to them? Where are their traces? Often, these activities are displaced, existing only within institutions like the Stonewall Inn, the community center, or private domains. Restrictions are imposed, denying marginalized communities access to the public realm. The occasional drag show is hosted in Christopher Park, but only when the city allows. In Christopher Park, a designation, a statue, a sculpture, a flagpole, conversations, all exist as forms of memorialization. Memorialization is interscalar, occurring across different scales and intimacies. Within the same space, a bust of Marsha P. Johnson once stood for a brief period of time. Different memorials are subject to different scales of duration. Some stories have permission to be monumentalized. These are typically of white men. Agency and authority are seized by those with power and money. This forces others to reclaim and foster spaces in often ephemeral, unstable, impermanent ways. Marginalized groups resort to fostering refuges out of underutilized, inaccessible spaces, which are vulnerable to eviction. Current areas that are inaccessible include the water, expensive condos, and Christopher Park past dusk. With several revisions to a mutually agreed-upon contract, we developed a ritual of visiting the site, observing traces, and crafted a methodology. We arrived to the site around Christopher Street Pier warm and safe. We left traces, placing tags along our paths, observing how long it would take for them to be removed and by whom. A relay system and a compulsory errand run enabled us to sprawl and cover as much ground as possible. We documented infrastructures, street art, murals, traces, beings, fully aware of our gaps and subjectivities. We supplemented our observations with research, patched in our findings with experience. This cyclical process led us to discover the missing pieces of a timeline we were trying to fill. Moments not commemorated in a formal way. Gaps instigated by erasures. Appropriation. Stealing. Gentrification. These gaps are often represented in obscure, overlooked ways. Memorials that are less likely to leave a tangible trace. We believe the gaps can be minimized through memorializing stories untold. With the understanding that our own subjectivities create further gaps, the design takes that of an open discursive system that allows engagement from any persons to materialize their stories in a non-fixed manner.